Good morning. Happy Saturday, everyone. I'm here with Michelle Ramirez, and she's with Movement for a People's Party. Hi, Michelle. How we doing today?
Hello, hello. Thanks for having me.
No problem. Thanks for
Doing
coming
great, doing
on.
great.
Great. So, Movement for a People's Party. Can you tell us briefly a little bit about this?
Sure. I'd love to. So, Movement for a People's Party is an idea that grew out of a lot of people's frustration with our current political situation in this country. People are very frustrated. People feel very unrepresented by our two corporate funded parties. And so the idea was born to help build a major new party that actually represents, working people, the working poor, marginalized groups, where the people actually have a voice. So that's in a nutshell. Imagine that.
Right. And that's a lot to imagine. That seems like a very large hill to climb, difficult task. I think it's been tried many times before unsuccessfully. I know there's been the Progressive Party in the past. I'm familiar with that, a couple other parties. But what would be the strategy moving forward to do this? And also, right now is a hot time to even try to talk about it because you might get yelled at by anybody. So what are some strategies to handle this the current situation and the climate, and then moving forward after the elections?
Yeah, that's a great question. So to start with, so we are not supporting or endorsing any particular candidate in this election. We don't currently have candidates. We are encouraging everyone to vote their conscience, and whoever you want to vote for, you don't want to vote, whatever it is, but you can still help us build a major new party. And so, whether you want to start working now, whether, you want to start working just after the election, for me, the sooner the better, because, obviously where we in this country and this planet, it's time sensitive. So, but yeah, so we really don't encourage a particular candidate or another in this election. I feel like we have two choices that are not great, but in this presidential election, but that's for the people to decide. So what makes us different is really the idea of a movement-based party, something that is really grassroots. And we can talk a little bit about, our hub building. Hubs are what we call chapters. Really that's something that things have to be built from the ground up. But we also think something new is something that really captures the moment in time that we're at. There's a great strategy being built about sort of building the foundation. And that's what we've been doing the last few years, is really building the foundation and finding like minds, building coalition. We've had some amazing partners that we've built some great relationships with, all folks who are like-minded on the majority of the issues, even if we don't agree on maybe one point or another. But learning how to all work together, I think, is super important. And there are obstacles, of course, in our electoral system, but they're not insurmountable. The main thing is having enough people, a critical mass of people that are willing to put in the work to get, ballot access, things like that. It is something doable. There are other parties that do it. It just takes people getting signatures in most states. It does vary by state, but it's very doable, and we have a plan for the future to move very quickly.
Right. Nice. That's good. So state by state. So if this goes forward and we get the People's Party, you'll have candidates running for Congress and Senate as People's Party. Oh, wow.
Absolutely.
Exciting.
Absolutely.
And
I will say,
how long do we know? How long do we know? Will this be the next election cycle that we will be able to have people running as the People's Party, or do we have to wait?
That is our intention. We at this moment have been the Movement for a People's Party. Again, we've been building that foundation up to this point. But in next year, in 2021, we are planning to have our founding convention where we actually transition to the actual party, like legally party, which is a process that takes a lot of work. Again, the chapter building, hub building is very key in that process. But it's something that we want to run candidates on the local level, state level, if we can, maybe in late 2021 for the places that have some local seats. In 2022, seats for Congress, and in 2024, run a presidential candidate.
Wow. This is great. So exciting. I was so inspired by the other day, last weekend, the whole event. It really, especially right now, there hasn't been very much good news lately. We've had some
Right.
wins on the bottom, there's been some good victories, but this People's Party really inspired me moving forward the last weekend and thinking about moving forward and the candidates that'll maybe start running as People's Party. Now, about that, is there a standard platform? I mean, can somebody run on is there mandatory abortion issues or gun issues or certain things, or can you run on it any way you want? How's that going to work?
That's a really good question. So right now, up to this point, we have been we have a current platform which is largely based around like the Bernie Sanders platform previously, but it was created and ratified. Our platform, like I said, it's kind of starts with Bernie's platform and adds some key issues that our members at the time in 2018 felt were important, but we went through a long process in 2018 of getting consensus of those who wanted to participate in that were supporters and volunteers, and on all of our national calls, and in many ways we voted on our current platform, but the official party platform will be decided at this founding convention next year. And in our lead up to that, obviously, there'll be many discussions leading up to that founding convention. But so for local candidates and things like that, we will be running folks who are, you know, the decisions made at the founding convention on what that platform looks like, which again, it's up to the people to decide, not just a couple of us, all of us to decide.
Okay.
But you'll have to be within those parameters to want to run within the People's Party, So if it's something like, I want to, no one can come in this country, or, whatever,
Right,
thing,
right.
you can't add stuff that,
Right. So it's going to be based off of the Bernie Sanders platform and then expanding from there. Wonderful. I mean, but there's still a lot of wedge issues today with the Democratic Party and the progressive people. And there's a lot of subjects that maybe people agree on them, but how to get to the end point could be more of the problem on some of those. And so that'll be all decided as the People's Party moves forward, correct?
You're right. You're right. But I also think it's really important to find where we have agreement. I think there are issues that I think sometimes the corporate parties and other sort of forces have a really good way of dividing us on issues that maybe we're in a little more agreement than we think on,
Right.
but there will be things we don't agree, to every single point. But I think really having a platform where the people get to voice those opinions and then taking the majority of the group. So if you're in the minority on a particular position, I think if you're willing to move forward with the main goals, which is giving a voice to the people, and that is still leaps and bounds from where we are today. So I think it
Right.
is something we have to be cognizant of.
Good.
The way we speak about the issues and making sure we're building as broad of a coalition as possible. So we try not to speak too much in terms of labels. I'm personally more of a leftist mentality, but does that mean someone who has or believes they're more right wing minded can't be involved? Of course not. We all can work together. I think generally we all want the same things, and for the most part.
Right. That is true. The duopoly that's making us argue about the same things. This third part, and then ranked choice voting is another thing that's might be helping the People's Party move into more of a view of the public.
Yes, there's also, I think, a lot of issues that we don't have consensus on as a people in this country, because there's a lot of things we don't talk about. I think, you know what I mean? As a country, we sort of you're for or against, one point or another. And I think some of the social issues are very important, and we need to have more conversations about it instead of just bringing up one and just polar opposite, on for or against without any discussion.
Right.
Let's have the discussion first
Right.
and look into it. Right.
Awesome.
So.
Awesome. This is so exciting. Now, moving forward, how can people at home help out, get involved, learn more?
That's a great question. So you can go to our website, which is peoplesparty.org, and you can sign up to volunteer there. That's an amazing thing to do. You can also sign up just, for the email list if you just want to, be caught up on what's going on and as we're building. But honestly, right now we need you. If you have any time to give to volunteer, now's the moment. And as I said, regardless of how you feel this election should play out in November, you can start building now. If you want to wait till after then, that's cool too. But we have, after, you mentioned the amazing event we had last Sunday, which was the People's Convention. Right. And we had just some amazing speakers that it was pretty phenomenal just to me personally, just to see the different opinions, but, all on the same page in general, but just different perspectives on those things.
Right.
And since then, we've just had this just amazing amount of interest. We already were having a huge amount of interest, but even more so now. So people are welcome to go to peoplesparty.org and sign up to volunteer. And then we have regional coordinators who are reaching out to new volunteers. Now, again, because there's a huge amount of folks, we're also hosting welcome and onboarding calls so that, larger groups of folks can be getting, some basics about, just history and, theory of change and different ideas. What we have working groups where folks can plug in. So, organizing is where I am. I'm a coordinator of the organizing working group. And we also have our regional organizing coordinators. But there are other ways, if you are a graphic artist, for example, we have an arts working group. If you're more tech-minded, me personally, I really need the tech-minded folks. I'm not as tech-minded.
Yeah, you gotta look for the really young ones for that.
Well, we have some amazing folks in our tech and data team, so in that working group, there's always skills that they're looking out for, we have media and messaging, so social media. That's another great thing. That's especially in the pandemic. That's largely we're doing a lot of organizing online, and so if people want to plug in that way, that's super helpful. We can always use more people on Reddit and YouTube. And of course, Facebook and Twitter and all of the platforms are great to plug in. So whatever folks want to do, but really our focus right now is in building our hubs. So if you want to organize locally to help build a local hub in your area, it's peoplesparty.org. And the local hubs will be able to work on local issues and build solidarity in your local areas, because that's really important, we think, moving forward, is that we're all in agreement sort of on the larger national issues, but really showing up for the people in your neighborhood is something the corporate parties don't do.
Right.
And we need to do. There are issues in each neighborhood that are not the same in your neighborhood if you're in Texas and I'm in Kansas, and someone in California. Those, we may agree on the larger issues, but sort of the priority of which is which, and some of the details might be different from place to place. So as long as you're organizing sort of within the parameters and then within the platform, you can help build a local hub. So, and we have lots of amazing folks doing that right now. So go ahead.
Sweet. So anybody, if you're bitching out there about our system, you got to do something about it. So this is your chance, and this is for real. This is not a Democratic Party. This is not the Republican Party. This is a people's party, and this is growing really fast, exploding. Everybody's ready for it. There's never been a better time. I appreciate you coming on, Michelle. I appreciate everything you guys do, both the Brana brothers, everybody else involved. Thank you guys so much. And we'd like to have you guys on again as we move down the road and keep, putting the word out for you guys.
Oh, that's great. Thank you so much. Well, we really appreciate you having us speak and really, letting folks know about what we're building, because it's going to take all of us, it's going to take as many of us as possible, but we can do this, so join us. So, and again, thank you so much.
Thank you, Michelle. Everybody have a great afternoon, great weekend. Peace out.